This is Talkin Hoopz, the show that discusses real NBA stories, gives you all the latest rumors, and gets you into heated debates.
It's dunks and layups. How many of his points have been jump shots? 0.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5.
0.
It's not happening. Not in this NBA. Maybe in the fantasy NBA that they're playing in, but not in this NBA.
We're going to challenge each other in practice.
We talking about practice, not a game.
Once the game starts, I mean, it's going to be easy.
You better get off whatever you're smoking.
Strap in, get your popcorn, put your headphones on.
This is Talkin Hoopz.
It's really good to checking out Talkin Hoopz. Talkin Hoopz.
Talkin Hoopz, the official talk show of NBRPA Miami.
Talkin Hoopz starts right now.
Talkin Hoopz, talkinhoops.com. AJ with you for the show for now. Strickland will be joining us in a little bit. NBRPA Miami chapter, nbrpamiami.com. Check them out. Knicks have won 6 straight. LeBron James, the Miami Heat, not playing well as of late. J.R. Smith, shoelace shenanigans. We'll have more on that. The Milwaukee Bucks, still the worst team in the league at the moment. We'll have more on the Bucks. Larry Sanders, back in action finally. Luol Deng, is he fitting in with the Cavs? Will he ever fit in with the Cavs? Trade deadline's approaching, February 20th to be exact. And we'll talk about the players that could possibly move at the deadline. David Lee, Tyson Chandler, and Pau Gasol. Those seem to be the names coming up. The Raptors playing well. Kyle Lowry playing out of his mind. He'll probably be staying in Toronto, though. And much, much more. But I'm just going to get right into this. The Knicks have won 6 straight. It's been pretty big for them. Off to a really rough start. Melo's been playing pretty well the whole season, and now he's finally got the supporting cast doing what they were supposed to do the entire season. Iman Shumpert finally finding himself on that West Coast trip in Texas. That was big for the Knicks. That was huge, actually. I don't know how much of a factor Tim Hardaway Jr. is really going to be anymore, but I tell you, I love this guy, and you know his minutes obviously have dropped, but if someone goes down, one of those guards, at least you know he'll be able to step in and fill that void. And then, of course, J.R. Smith coming through with the shoelace shenanigans. It's unbelievable, this guy. You know, I know everyone's talked about it already, but it's still making headlines. Turns out the guy had 3 games. 3 games he pulled this shoelace shenanigans. It started in Houston. And you can see right here, starts in Houston. Unties Dwight Howard sneaker. No one really knows about it. Now it comes to Dallas. Unties Shawn Marion's shoe, and then attempts to untie Andre Drummond's shoe when the Knicks played Detroit at the Garden. But it's getting ridiculous with J.R. Smith. And Mike Woodson sat him against the Miami Heat. And, you know, they probably could have used them, even though they didn't need them. They probably could have used them. But, hey, credit Mike Woodson. Hopefully this guy's learned his lesson. And the guy's got to grow up. It's time. You know, this really is what needs to happen. J.R. Smith's got to get his head straight. And I think Carmelo needs to have a talk with J.R. You know, he's the leader of this team. He's got to act like a leader. And he's got to go to talk to J.R. Smith and say, listen, I did a lot for you, got you to New York. Mike Woodson's done a lot for you. We need you to get your head right and focus on basketball and get this thing moving again. And the Knicks have won 6 straight, so they are playing well. Going into Charlotte tonight, that will be determined if they win or lose, but we'll see what happens. They do have Tyson Chandler back. It's impressive enough. They've done most of this without Tyson Chandler, the defensive anchor on this team. So credit the supporting cast. Credit Mike Woodson. You know what? Mike Woodson has gone through so much this whole season with this team not playing up to expectations. You're talking about a potential contender, and after a 55-win season, playing horrible, they stuck with him. Dolan said, I'm sticking with Mike Woodson. This is my guy. This is my coach. The players still seem to respect him. He's come through. The Knicks won 6 straight, and I got to tell you, some of these wins have been pretty impressive. You got the San Antonio win. You almost beat Houston. To me, I think I would still count that as, even though it's a loss, it goes either way. Dallas, that was impressive. That's a solid win. Solid West Coast team, fighting playoff team, potential playoff team. The Heat, obviously. Phoenix, that was a tough game to watch yesterday. That got a little ugly at the end. Not the prettiest, but bottom line is, I think 3 weeks ago, this team wasn't getting it done against Phoenix in that type of situation. So the fact that they were able to pull through together and hit some clutch shots, and really their defense is what got them through last night's game, holding Phoenix to, I believe, 36%. So for the whole night, that was pretty impressive. But it's a different mindset right now in New York, and they got Raymond Felton back, which has been great. I know he had a big game against the Miami Heat. He had a solid game last night. So if he keeps playing well, obviously the Knicks are in good shape. But again, still dealing with the Tyson Chandler injury. How effective he'll be now, who knows? But it's good to see Shumpert and J.R. Smith coming through, playing their roles. So, again, the Knicks 6 straight. They're the story of the league right now, and hopefully it carries on for Knicks fans. But there's a lot more to be talked about here other than J.R. Smith shoelace shenanigans. So, and actually we'll show that again just because it's mind-blowing that this guy does this 3 games straight. And I know he actually came out. J.R. Smith actually came out, and he said he's really, after talking to Woodson, after realizing what he had actually done and how serious it was, I think he realizes now that, he's in a position where he's an NBA player, and there's people that would kill to be in his position to play in the NBA, and, he shouldn't take this for granted at all. And, you're gonna do your job, do it right, show why you're in the NBA, and cut the BS, man. Cut the BS. And he acknowledged that. He came out and acknowledged and said, I got to stop taking this for granted. There's a lot of people that want to be in the NBA, want to play in the NBA, that would kill to be in my position. And, I respect JR for coming out and realizing that, but we'll see. We'll see. We've heard things like this before in the past. We'll see if JR actually listens. So, the Miami Heat. Let's talk about the Miami Heat not playing too well, losing to the Knicks and the Nets back-to-back. And that was tough, man. LeBron James really the only guy here stepping it up. I know they played Brooklyn without Dwayne Wade, but is LeBron James MVP? Is he an MVP candidate right now? The Heat, not the best team in the NBA. You're looking at Indiana Pacers, San Antonio Spurs. These are the 2 best teams in the league right now. The Heat are up there, but, again, it comes down to, is LeBron James an MVP candidate? Is he going to get it for another year? And in my opinion, he should, because if you take LeBron off the Heat, they're not at all the same team. They're not even close. So I think LeBron means the most to his team, and that's why he should be an MVP candidate. But then you look at guys around the league like Paul George, and the Pacers are having a great year. And it's one thing about Paul George is not a numbers guy. Paul George can put up big numbers, but he doesn't care. And, I can say the same thing about LeBron. LeBron doesn't always care either. But that's one thing about Paul George. He could put up 5 points as long as his team gets the win. But in terms of MVP candidate, are the Pacers in the same situation without Paul George? I mean, no, I don't think so. I think he's totally worthy. I think they aren't in the same situation. I don't think that other guys are going to completely step up every single night and fill the void that Paul George would leave on that team. And LeBron, it's definite, though. I don't think, whether you have Dwayne Wade, you have Chris Bosh, they're definitely not in the same place without LeBron. So I think LeBron, if you look at it like that, he should be MVP. Numbers, I mean, he's 26, 6-6. That's still pretty impressive. I think, his rebound numbers, his assist numbers have been better in previous years. But he is shooting 59.8% from the field. That's a career high for him. He's averaging 16 shots a game. That is impressive. And actually he came out, LeBron has been kind of jealous. ESPN reported that LeBron has been kind of jealous seeing Kevin Durant take all these shots. And, granted, Russell Westbrook isn't playing. So at the end of the day, and I said it at the end of the day, Kevin Durant is going to get most of the shot attempts. But a guy shooting 16 for 32, he's getting 32 shot attempts. And even LeBron says you got to think that that he's jealous, and he is. He doesn't take – he takes 16 shots a game, but that's because he says the Heat's offense is much different than the Thunder, which it is. It's a more team game. Everyone gets involved. That's why guys like Ray Allen will have big nights every now and then. He's always looking for the shooters. The Heat's outside shooting. Mark will tell you that when he comes on. But, LeBron is definitely an MVP candidate, and, he never cared in the past about a shot selection, shot attempts. But, hey, this guy, if he was shooting most of the shots, we all know this guy could probably put up 60 points a night if he really wanted to. I know he's come out in the past. I'm pretty sure he said he'd put up 100. But, that just shows you how focused he is. He's a champion. He's got 2 rings already with Miami, going for 3. So, we'll see. But it's hard to say that LeBron is not an MVP candidate, and I think it's going to come down to the wire. But I think Paul George has a great shot, but I think my heart still says LeBron, if you're looking at it, who means more to their team? I just think LeBron means more to the Heat than Paul George means to the Pacers. And some people may say I'm crazy for saying that, but when you look at the numbers LeBron puts up, they have to consistently get all those. 26 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and then you're not counting the huge nights he has. But they gotta figure out who's going to give them that. And with Dwayne Wade's health, the reason why I say that is Dwayne Wade doesn't play every game. They really would they'd be searching. Every game they'd be searching. And you could say Ray Allen may step up a little bit. You could say Rashard Lewis, but I still, when it comes down to it, I don't think they'll get the same contribution that LeBron James gives them every single night. So, and that's why this guy is a top fantasy player. That's why he is who he is. So that's why I think that LeBron is still the MVP, and hopefully he gets that award this year. He definitely deserves it. We'll see how if the Heat three-peat, but we're talking about regular season. There's an MVP trophy for the finals, who performed the best in the finals. So, that's totally different. We'll see if LeBron's even in the finals, but for the regular season, LeBron James is the MVP, in my opinion. He's still the MVP. And that's coming from a Knicks fan. So, LeBron is still the MVP. Tremendous respect for his game. Now, moving on, going from one of the better teams, we're going to jump down to one of the worst teams in basketball, the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks. Now, their roster, they said they had higher expectations for their team, and I could sort of understand why from some of the names. They're not all healthy. They signed Zaza Pachulia. He's not playing. He's injured. They signed Carlos Delfino. He hasn't played a game this season. So they do have some key guys that, they feel are key guys. Caron Butler hasn't been healthy the whole season. This team, it's the future. They're looking towards the future. They got some nice young talent. I like this Giannis Antetokounmpo. Say that 10 times fast. Antetokounmpo. I think he's from Greece, actually. Great young talent. Getting the starting spot most games now. 6.9 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 1 assist. But he's had some impressive games, including a nice block on Kevin Durant when the Bucks played the Thunder earlier on in the season. So he's a good young piece going forward with that team. John Henson, also struggling with injuries, 12 points, 7 rebounds a game, but for a while was giving you a night in, night out, 15 and 10. A solid double-double from this guy. He is a forward. Impressive youngers. I think, he's third year in the league. So I've been impressed with Henson, and hopefully that keeps up when he comes back. I think he's still injured. Chris Middleton has stepped it up in the absence of everyone. But, again, we're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. So not to discredit Chris Middleton at all, but I always feel like someone has got to step up. It always happens. Someone steps up and, tries the best they can to fill the void. If a guy's not getting rebounds, someone else is going to get the rebounds. If a guy's not scoring, someone's going to have to score the ball. So Chris Middleton giving you 11 points a game. I'm going through the Bucks because really when you say these guys, when you say these names and you talk about this team, it really is for the future. This is really a team for the future. But as good as Brandon Knight has been for this team, the big trade that sent Brandon Jennings to Detroit, Brandon Knight, I don't know if he's ever going to be an all-star. He's capable of putting up big nights, and I think he's in that Jamal Crawford type of category, or at least his future is, where he'll be borderline, maybe as good as a sixth man of the year, even though he's a starter. I don't know if he'll ever make an all-star. I don't know if he'll ever make an all-star team. And granted, he is only 22. He's only 22 years old. He's a young guy. But the way I've seen him play, where he's shown signs of greatness and then he's shown signs of complete inconsistency. So we got to, if I'm Brandon Knight, I got to try and obviously be more consistent, but bring it every single night. I feel like some nights he's just not there. He's got to be more of a point guard, and that's what I mean by that. He's got to be more of a point guard. Everyone knows he can score the ball, but you're a point guard. You got to distribute the ball too. 4.3 assists for your starting point guard. In the league today, that's not going to get it done. I'm sorry. It's not. Unless you're Tony Parker, that's not going to get it done. And he is not Tony Parker. He's not. So the other big thing we talked about on Talkin Hoopz, Larry Sanders. That was a big story in the summer. They give him a huge contract. He's the highest paid player on the team, and he's gotten himself into some trouble, fights with teammates, him and Gary Neal getting into it in the locker rooms. I'm not a huge fan of this situation. The Larry Sanders, I think it's $44 million contract. A guy that's giving you 5 points and 6 rebounds a game, shooting 42% from the field. That's not impressive. And the fact that he's not been on the court because of off-the-court issues and injuries and, players coming to town saying, hey, this guy may have quit on the team and whatnot, and getting into fights with guys telling him to earn his paycheck, go out and play, and you're supposed to be the leader of this club. I don't know how I feel about that. The GM came out and says he's happy with this team for the future. He likes the young guys you could build around, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it going forward, this team being great with the young pieces they have. I think they are not even close. Not even close. I like some of their young talent, but you're relying on these guys to this is your core group you're building around, and I just don't think it's a core group. I think these are great guys you can add to other teams that have a good core group, but I don't think this nucleus is a recipe for a championship in the long haul, down the road, when everybody's developed. I just don't see it. So we'll see what happens with the Milwaukee Bucks, but still holding the worst record in the NBA at 7. They got 7 wins on the season. They're 7-30. They're 7-30. They're 7-30. The worst, Orlando's got 10 wins. They're the second worst team, but that was kind of expected. But Milwaukee is 7-30 in the East. The East is not a good conference. So I know they got injuries. They've lost 6 straight, but I mean, come on. You can't think that the future pieces on this team are the formula to winning a title. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry, John Hammond. I don't know what you're doing in Milwaukee in terms of thinking that this is potentially a championship team, but hopefully things turn around and you make a trade at the deadline. You got a ton of centers. Maybe trade Udo, who never gets any playing time. You know what? You got. I wouldn't trade Antetokounmpo, but hey, listen, Brandon Knight. I know you see him as a future and a great asset, but if you do, a lot of other teams should too. So maybe you think about moving him and getting some talent, or trading O.J. Mayo. You know, O.J. Mayo has not really played all that well this season, so maybe you look to trade the guard O.J. Mayo. Who knows? Who knows? But something's got to happen. You can't go through this thinking that you have a good team for the future with 7 wins right now. I'm not impressed at all. Not impressed. You should have a little bit more than that. You're in the Eastern Conference, man. You're in the Eastern Conference. So hopefully the Bucks turn that season around, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good right now for Milwaukee Bucks fans. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about Luol Deng and how he's fit in with the Cavs. Stick around. Talkin Hoops, talkinhoops.com. AJ with you for now. Hopefully Mark will be back soon. NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com. Check them out. We'll be right back.
Don't foul out. Talkin Hoops will be right back. I'm Mark Sanchez with a message for women. This is the actual sound of my heartbeat. I'm sharing my heart to let you know that the symptoms of women's heart attacks can be different from men's. Please learn more. All it takes is a few minutes of your time in return for years of healthy life. That's a deal even my agent couldn't negotiate. Cover your heart. Learn more. CVS Cares.
The new free CBS Radio app streams your favorite CBS radio stations, as well as all your favorite AOL and Yahoo Music stations directly to your iPhone, iPod Touch, and BlackBerry Bold. With 30 genres of professionally programmed stations at your fingertips, you can hear whatever you want, whenever you want. Stations like K-Rock, 1010 Wins, WFAN, AMP, and over 600 others. Now you can easily take your favorite stations with you on the go. The CBS Radio app is everything you wanted from streaming radio and a whole lot more. Go to cbsradio.com/mobile to download your app today.
This is AJ, and you're checking out Talkin Hoops, where you can hear the true legends of basketball. If you missed any of the action from today's show, you can find the full episode on talkinhoops.com or youtube.com/talkinhoops. And don't forget to follow @TalkinHoops on Twitter and give us a like on Facebook for all the latest around the league.
Sassy! Sassy!
This week's episode, Bobcat in the Cave.
Gosh, Johnny, playing in the cave sure is neat. Oh boy, a kitty cat. Sassy, the kitty cat's yelling. What, Sassy? It's not a kitty, it's a bobcat? Speaking of cats, you'd like to stress the importance of adopting cats from animal shelters? Over 5 million cats go into animal shelters every year? And with millions of healthy cats to choose from, it's a shame more people don't adopt from shelters? This bobcat's heavy. Help, Sassy! Why bother? We'll just get into more trouble tomorrow? What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nuts!
Sassy is brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org. Remember, adopt.
My dream is to become a mechanical engineer.
My dream is to be
a ballerina. My dream is to be a veterinarian.
I want to be a chef,
Truck driver.
a teacher, a shoe designer,
professional skateboarder.
But right now,
I'm just a kid.
Just a kid.
I'm just a kid.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted.
Ready to be adopted.
I'm just a kid ready to be adopted. For the facts about adopting a child from foster care, contact the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption.
Hey guys, this is AJ. Want to talk more hoops? To bring the show into overtime, check out talkinhoops.com. Catch you on the rebound.
Welcome back to Talkin Hoops.
About 15 players in the team. 14 get along.
Now here's a guy who likes to dunk.
On an 8.5-foot rim. Take it away, AJ.
And we are back talking hoops, talkinhoops.com. AJ still with you for the show. NBRPA Miami chapter, NBRPAMiami.com. Check them out. Getting back into the show, the Cleveland Cavaliers have not exactly had the best start to this season. Another team that had expectations. Now, expectations that they were going to win a championship? No. But expectations that they were going to be a solid playoff team in the East? Yes. And it has not been the case this season. They make the trade for Andrew Bynum, and they trade Andrew Bynum for Luol Deng. They bring in Luol Deng, and Luol Deng, not exactly granted, it's the first 2 games he's played with the Cavs, but a guy that was averaging 19 points a game. They got to figure out how to get this guy more involved. I'm not seeing it yet. It's only 2 games, but this is not like LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh all figuring out how to play together. This is adding Luol Deng to a team that could use his services, use what he brings to the table. And in the 2 games, he's averaging 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. Now, that's not bad. Those aren't terrible numbers. That's not terrible for Luol Deng. That's not the worst thing in the world. But if you're looking to go places in the Eastern Conference, go places in the playoffs, this guy has to step it up a little bit more. He's got to play better. They got to figure out a way to get him more involved. They got to figure out a way to get Kyrie and him on the same page. CJ Miles has been playing great basketball for this team. And now Luol Deng's cutting into his minutes. And I should say he's cutting into Luol Deng's minutes because Luol Deng is the all-star, and I'm not knocking Luol Deng at all. But is he going to fit in with this team? You like to think so. They got Anderson Varejao. They got Kyrie Irving. I mean, those are 2 good pieces to put around him, and then you got a nice shooting guard in Dion Waiters. The rest of the team, Jared Jack, solid. CJ Miles has been impressive. Everybody else, I don't know. I don't know if they're really here. They can really contribute. So, Luol Deng's got to play well. And this team, Kyle and I both thought that this would be a 5th seed, a solid 5th seed in the East right now with Deng, and that's not been the case. And, again, maybe they had higher expectations. Well, they totally had higher expectations for their first overall pick, Anthony Bennett, the first overall pick who's been one of the biggest busts right now, maybe even in NBA history. But they've been playing with him they've been playing without him pretty much throughout the whole season. So he hasn't been giving them numbers, and now Luol Deng comes to this team, and they're hoping he can kind of bring a spark and put this team back in the right direction. Kyrie Irving, one of the best point guards in the NBA. They got that going for them. Hopefully he stays in Cleveland, resigns with Cleveland. Luol Deng, he was going to be a free agent. Still is going to be a free agent this summer. Are the Cavs going to even bring him back? Well, I think they're going to determine if he fits in with the team first. But LeBron James is a free agent, people. Is LeBron James going to go back to Cleveland? Well, if he does, Luol Deng is not going to be in Cleveland because that is a lot of money for both those guys, and the team is not going to be able to afford both of them. So, Luol Deng not going back to Cleveland if LeBron ends up in Cleveland. But LeBron has come out and said that he doesn't want to play in a place where it's cold. So I don't know if that means he's ever going to come back to Cleveland. But, hey, if you have a chance to get LeBron James on your team, obviously you're going to pick him over Luol Deng. And Luol Deng knows that. He came out and said, hey, if you have a shot to get LeBron, it's a business. He's one of the best. You go get him. You go take him. So he's waiting to see how that all plays out. He's not offended or anything. He understands it's a business. But in the meantime, the first 2 games, I'm not too impressed with Luol Deng. I thought he'd have a bigger impact. So with that being said, the Cavs got a lot of work to do. Mike Brown definitely has his hands full. And, they lost their last game with Luol Deng. So, and we'll get to that. And now it looks like Mark Strickland is joining us. Strick, you there?
Talkin Hoopz. What's
right.
up, man?
Strickland is with us. It's about time, man. I was waiting for you. Running out of steam here.
My bad, man. My bad. I see your beloved Knicks are winning now, huh? Because they moving the ball. You see the ball movement now? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure. I saw, Philly, Carmelo Anthony has 7
They
assists.
moving the ball up, man. Yeah, man.
You got to. I talked about the Knicks earlier. I guess we just finished the Luol Deng conversation. Actually, before we get into the Knicks, you're kind of jumping into this. Let's talk about Luol Deng. I don't know if he fits in with the Cavs right now. What do you think about Luol Deng fitting in with the Cavs?
I think he'll get him a big presence on the defense end because he's able to guard like a LeBron. He's able to guard a Melo with his length. He gives him an extra shooter. I mean, Kyrie Irving plays lights out when he's playing. They got a decent team. I mean, they're going to surprise some people. I think he'll bring a little bit more energy boost on me. But he can make shots. He can make mid-range shots. He can make threes. So anytime you have a player like Kyrie Irving who can get in and kind of draw the defense, that'll give him easier shots to kick out to Luol Deng. And then if you got Deng making shots, you can't double on Kyrie Irving. Right. Because you have a couple other guys on that team that's playing really well. So, we'll see. I think it's a good move for him just for now. I mean, I don't think it's something that's going to always be
right.
Or it's going to be next year, but it's a good piece for him now and see how it works.
Yeah, and I haven't been too impressed. The thing that's bothering me is I know it's only been 2 games with Luol Deng.
Yeah.
But the guy went from averaging 19 points a game in Chicago, and he comes over to Cleveland. He's putting up 11 points in 2 games here. And C.J. Miles, who was now the backup small forward, is playing out of his mind for Cleveland. He's actually doing really well, getting 25 minutes a game. He's been playing pretty well for them all season. Deng comes in. Now, Miles' minutes obviously get cut because they're pretty much playing the same position. And, Deng, to me, just doesn't – he's still looking like he's confused. He's lost. And I know it's only 2 games, but we're not talking about a LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh situation here. We're talking about a small forward that, in my opinion, should be able to just kind of fit right in here, just –
but you gotta understand, he just uprooted and moved from Chicago. Now he's in cold Cleveland. Well, they're both cold cities. But you gotta give him a chance to adjust. He gotta learn the plays. He gotta learn different terminologies. Every NBA team is the same rotations, but it's different terminology. Sometimes you have different calls for different things. He has to learn all that. He's living in a hotel, man. Probably living out of a suitcase. He's still right out the practice. He's trying to find a place to live. He's probably doing interviews like. It's hectic when you first get traded. So, you got to give him some time to settle in. Even LeBron, his first year said, his first year wasn't settled in because after the lockout, he was saying that the lockout gave him time to kind of get his family settled up, get his kids in school, kind of get settled into being in Miami and not so much, just being here and not feeling like it's home. It gives you an opportunity to do that. So, I think he'll come around. I mean, like you said, right now it's 2 games. You really can't tell. So, it's early. It's early.
Right.
It's early.
Well, Kyle and I said last week we like the Cavs going in maybe the 5th seed in the East if Luol Deng, if they get it together, because it is the East. I think we said it. The top, what were we talking? The top 6 spots. So 6 through 8 are up for grabs.
Yeah.
You got 1 and 2 are locked up. So
1 and 2 locked.
Yeah. So no, I'm sorry. 6 for 8 are up for grabs, but I'd say 3 through 8 are definitely up. 3 through 8 in the East are up for grabs for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
3 through 8.
Yeah. Atlanta lost Al Horford, so they're not going to stay in the third spot that long. And Paul Millsap is not putting up huge numbers for them anymore. So I don't know what's going to happen with Atlanta, but. I think the Cavs, having Luol Deng and Kyrie on the same team, if he gets it together, like you say, then, they should be in, like, the 5th or 4th spot in the East.
Yeah.
So,
should be.
And
somewhere around there. They'll definitely make the playoffs, though. Yes, sir.
I think Brooklyn was teasing everyone a little bit. I don't know how back they are, but...
No. I'm not falling for that or the Knicks.
No, I haven't completely fell for the Knicks, but at the same time, there's certain things I like from them, and last night's game, without Tyson Chandler, their defense has really been the defense won the game for them last night. Held Phoenix to 36% shooting, which is pretty solid considering this team puts up 102 a game. 102
defensive discipline. Yep, defensive discipline. That's more discipline, but go ahead.
More discipline. So, but again, without Tyson, they're doing this.
That's what I'm saying. So then they're going to have to make another adjustment when Tyson Chandler come back.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's always some adjustments to make.
Right. So
because you're gonna need him in the playoffs. You're gonna need that big body in the playoffs.
For sure.
Yeah.
And Kenya Martin can only do so much at
Yeah,
37,
because he don't give you
years
nothing
old.
offensively, man. He's not a shot blocker. He's not a tremendous rebounder. He can rebound, but you know you're gonna need that Tyson Chandler, and that's when you're gonna have Tyson Chandler and the shooter.
The shooter.
Yeah. Tall shooter. Play center, but he shoots threes.
Bargnani.
There you go. Bargnani. There you go.
Don't get me started on Bargnani. Don't get me started on him.
He's played well against the Heat, too. I like that.
He played well against the Heat. He played well against the Heat and the Nets. That may have been his 2 only good games this season. But okay, so actually, perfect timing of why we wanted you to talk about Miami, because I know that's your team anyway. You love, But LeBron James, I was talking earlier of why I think he should still be the MVP candidate for this season. And I think it comes down to the fact that without him, the Heat are not the same team because Wade's not playing every night. So he's crucial to his team. Every single game he needs to play.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. He's like Michael Jordan. I mean, you take Michael Jordan out the Bulls, and then they're gonna struggle.
Right.
I mean, he's one of the, if not the best player in the league right now. I mean, that's a huge piece. Right. He draws a lot of attention. He makes a lot of baskets for a lot of the other players, easy. He makes things easy for them.
Right.
He makes things easy for himself. He's communicating on defense. I mean, he's more than just, like a LeBron figure. He's the voice of the team. He gets everybody in line. He gets everybody fired up for the game. He talks on defense, make sure everybody's getting the right rotations. When they don't, he's explaining it to them as they walk into the huddle. I mean, there's so much that he brings to the table. So, I mean, you got to have a guy like that who won back-to-back championships. When he said he was going to win 6, you got to keep him at MVP until somebody beat him.
Right.
Somebody has to beat them, and somebody has to be playing better than them for them to get MVP. I mean, you got some candidates like Paul George, Steph Curry, just to name a few. But, they haven't won any championships. They haven't really won any, did a lot in the playoffs, got to any finals or anything like that. So you have to continuously give it to a guy,
and that's
doing night in and night out.
I can't count the playoffs. See, that's one thing. You get an MVP for the regular season. Okay, the finals, you get an MVP trophy for being the MVP in the finals. But the regular season, okay, a team that can put up 50-something wins, and you take one guy off that team, and they're totally different. I think LeBron is in that situation. I think he's that guy where if you take him off the Heat, they're not winning nearly as many games as what they're winning now.
No.
And as many times as Ray Allen hits big shots, steps up, Rashard Lewis has been playing pretty well for them, comes in, hits shots.
Chris Bosh.
Of course, Chris Bosh. But, Dwayne Wade, they're not playing him more than 2 games straight. Then he sits. So he would have to play every night, have to have big games. I just think LeBron means more to his team right now than a guy like I said earlier, Paul George. Paul George means a lot, but I think he doesn't. There are nights where Paul George can have 5 points.
They can survive without him. Yes.
Right.
They can survive without him.
So I think that's why I think LeBron should still be MVP when it comes down to it.
Of course.
When it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Now, the Heat have been struggling. What's your take on that? The Heat have been struggling the last couple games.
I mean, everybody going to hit a rough patch. They hit a rough patch every year. I mean, teams are going to do that. They're really gearing up for the playoffs and the end of the season. The last couple of games, man, it's been tough. It's been tough to watch. Knicks just kind of snuck up on us, had a good game. Then the second game, Dwayne Wade didn't play against the Nets. I mean, it was, it's just sometimes you lose your rhythm in basketball, and I think that's what's happening with them. But they'll find it back, once they get to practice.
Right.
Kind of work some of the kinks out, look at some film, kind of get refocused. Sometimes, man, dude, the season is so long, you have to kind of get refocused.
Right.
And I think once they do that, they'll be in the mix as always, man. Teams are gonna beat them during the regular season.
Right.
I always say that. Teams are going to beat them during the regular season, but can you beat them 4 games in a series? That's yet to be seen.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, ESPN reported this, and I spoke about this earlier in the show, but if you're just tuning in, listen up. LeBron told ESPN that he's a little jealous of Kevin Durant right now. And being that Kevin Durant is taking 34 shots a game, LeBron averages, he's 18th in the league. He averages 16 shots a game. Yeah. He's jealous of the amount of shot attempts that Kevin Durant gets. And, he says it's because he doesn't get all the shots because of how the Heat play. They play as a team, and obviously you like that much better than individual play. LeBron gets more guys involved. Everyone equally kind of contributes on the Heat because of LeBron. Yeah. But he says, he wouldn't mind getting more shot attempts. So, what do you think about that?
He should just take them. He could take them. I mean, he takes over the game at the end of the game. Took over Game 6. He took over Game 7. Just take the shots. I mean, he's the one that comes out in the game passing the ball. I mean, I understand why he's doing that.
Right.
But there are certain points in the game, man, where he needs to take the game over. There's times where he's passing the ball when he's supposed to be taking a shot.
Right.
I mean, that's just the way he plays. I mean, shoot, if you want to take, I'm pretty sure Eric Spoelstra is not going to complain with LeBron James wanting extra 6-7 shots. Man, come on.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Look at him okay, he's going to say the same thing I said. Take him.
My knock on LeBron used to be just that, especially in the playoffs. Yeah. He would never take the big shots. He would always try and look for the open guy. But sometimes you just got to be selfish and do it. And he did that in the last finals. In that last game, he won the game for them. He hit every shot he needed to. He got himself very involved and took most of the shots that game. So good for him. But, if you're jealous like of, like you said, if you're jealous of Kevin Durant, take more shots. Take more shots. Now, also, in Durant's defense here, Russell Westbrook's injured, so he really has to take the bulk of the shots.
He got a lot more roster. Russell Westbrook gets up shots.
Right.
So he has to, though. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Durant's in a situation where he has to score. I mean, he got guys out there that literally can't score.
Right.
And Perkins and a couple of other guys are kind of like role players. They're out there for defense. I mean, they can make shots, but they're not a Russell Westbrook. So he has to take on a lot of the load of the offense. Unfortunately for LeBron, he has help.
Right.
You could bring you got Ray Allen who could score double-figure points. You got Rashard Lewis score double-figure points.
Right.
Chris Bosh gets hot some game and gives you double-double. Dwayne Wade can take over the game whenever he wants. So he has a little bit more offensive punch than Durant does.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. And then you look at Durant. We talk about LeBron being MVP. We talk about Steph Curry, Paul George, Kevin Durant. His team right now, 28-9, Mark. 28-9. And this guy's pretty, like we just said, he's pretty much doing this by himself. All right? It's not like Ibaka, he doesn't put up huge numbers. He's giving you like 14 and 6. Those aren't
Which is good for him. That's about his range, yeah.
I know he gives you the 2 blocks, 2.9, 3 blocks a game, which is good, but this is really Kevin Durant putting up 44, from all the shots he's taking. But, he's getting it done. So I think when you look at it, depending on when Russell Westbrook comes back and if he's the same player when he comes back after another surgery, I think then he's thrown into that MVP category as well. But, I think it's going to come down to the wire, but my vote still goes to LeBron.
Yeah, if I could vote for anybody, it'd be Steph Curry, man. He's doing tremendous work. I mean, he's willing his team to win. He's hitting big shots, man. I mean, he's putting up huge numbers. He's doing it. I mean, he's my second choice for MVP right now.
Definitely. He's up there also. I mean, there's a lot of guys we could talk about for that. But while we're on the Warriors, the trade deadline comes February 20th, okay?
Yeah.
And one of the big names may surprise you. I don't know if you've heard this, but David Lee may be moved at the trade deadline.
Wow, I want to do that. I mean, he's playing lights out now. He's healthy.
Right.
He has more energy right now. He's playing like he's not injured. Right. I don't see why they will move him unless it's a contractual thing.
Exactly. I'm going to tell you why. So first of all, the Warriors have a lot of guys on this team, okay? And they have a guy named Harrison Barnes who probably could be playing more minutes if they weren't so jam-packed at the forwards and center positions. Because, David Lee and Andrew Bogut play most of the minutes when they're both healthy. So they like Harrison Barnes, and David Lee has the biggest contract, I believe, on the team right now. He signed like an $80 million deal with them when he was a free agent. So if they can move David Lee, obviously you get a lot in return for David Lee. One, because of the size of his contract. Two, because of how good he is. Guy's a double-double machine every night. Yeah. So, in my opinion, I see why they're doing it. Okay, I understand if you want to get rid of a big contract and you want to give your younger players some time to develop, who potentially can be I think Harrison Barnes has the potential to be an all-star here.
Yeah. So, with more minutes, with experience, and with it, when he's going to get experience by minutes.
Right. So if David Lee goes, you still got Andre Iguodala. You still got Harrison Barnes. You still got Andrew Bogut. You still got Steph Curry. You still got Klay Thompson. You still have a team that can compete here. And whatever you get in return for David Lee, now you fill out your bench. Now you get maybe a solid backup point guard because Tony Douglas isn't really getting it done for you. It's not happening. It's not working.
I mean, it's pros and cons to both ends of it, but it's a win-win situation for Golden State. If they lose him, they get a lot of pieces for him.
Right.
And the team that gets him get a great player, I think, man. I mean, I wish we could get him.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna happen. He fit in great here. I mean, that's the kind of guy we need. Just a workhorse guy, man. That'll be great. But I just feel like I would keep him. I mean, the continuity between all those guys right now are good, but sometimes, man, the NBA is a business, and that's part of the business.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you look at it, why break up a good thing that's going right now? I know it's tempting because of the situation, and I think general managers are always looking at the cap. Owners are always looking at the money that's coming out of their pockets, what they're giving guys. I get that, but in terms of winning a championship this season, people are saying Golden State has what it takes.
I think so. Once they get better defensively, that's the key, and they're starting to do that. Yeah. Once you see them get better, because when they play East Coast teams and they play the championship, and when the playoffs is all about defense. You have to play defense. Right. You have to get stops.
Right. For sure. So I like that, and then two other names that could be moved to the deadline: Tyson Chandler and Pau Gasol, which has been rumored for a while. But Tyson Chandler, does that surprise you at all, Tyson Chandler?
Not really, because I see the Knicks, man, they'll do anything. Anytime you trade Patrick Ewing and just don't give him nothing and just give him the heave-ho, all you get is a bye-bye on the front page of the New York Times, man. Come on, man, that's it. So I wouldn't be surprised. Man. I don't get surprised by anything the Knicks do because they're playing well right now without him. That's what's happening.
Well, that's what people are saying.
Sometimes you get a group of guys together and they're playing well and you start to win. You don't want to break that continuity. You kind of like, okay, what can we get for this guy right now while he's hot?
Right.
That's pretty much what it is.
They say if Tyson leaves, that'll factor a lot into whether or not Carmelo Anthony stays with the team or not. So I don't know if it's the best idea to be trading Tyson Chandler unless you're getting some sort of defensive presence back or something back.
Yeah, that's true. But I think, man, they're going to move. I think Melo's going to move anyway. I think so.
Yeah? Where do you think Melo's going?
I think so. I don't know, man. I see him going one of them LA teams.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's going to the Lakers unless D'Antoni's gone. And then you got management coming out saying D'Antoni's doing a great job. So for them to say he's doing a great job and just fire him, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I see Melo going to the Lakers. But the only way he goes to the Clippers is in a trade. It's the only way.
Well, the Clippers say they'll trade anybody. You know what I mean? Anybody's tradable except for Chris Paul.
Yeah. Well, they said a few. I think they said a week ago they didn't even want to trade Blake Griffin because, one, Kyle broke it down. Blake Griffin's having a way better season than Carmelo Anthony right now. First of all, the guy's competing against.
I don't know why they want to trade him because he's a beast.
Yeah, but let me ask something. Your take on Blake Griffin: is he just a great athlete, or does this guy have real talent?
I think he got real talent, man. He just needs somebody there to teach him that talent. All you gotta do is teach a guy that athletic. You can teach him how to be a dominant post player. All you have to do is get him to have a go-to move and then have him have a counter go-to move. His athletic ability will take care of everything else. So all you need. He has to have a go-to move on the post, and then once they start stopping that move, have a counter move, and then the rest will take care of itself because he's going to get rebounds, he's going to get lobs, he's going to get putbacks. That right there alone is about 15 points, and then all you need him to do is score in the post in the playoffs. Early in games you need to score, late in games you need to score, and that's all he has to do.
Now, when I watch a game, there's a lot of things I point out, and you say, why doesn't this guy do this? Why doesn't this guy do that? Now, you know better than I do. They watch the film after the games, okay? So they see the same thing that I'm seeing after the game, right? Yeah. So when you look at guys that are having problems rebounding, okay, and they watch the film. Why didn't this guy grab a rebound? Why did this guy, who's a forward, have 2 rebounds the whole game? Do you look at how he's boxing guys out, how his rebounding is, like how he does it? And a guy like Amari Stoudemire, I watch him every game. He doesn't box out. It's like he doesn't
Just goes to the ball.
He doesn't know.
Yeah,
and I
just
don't
goes to the
understand.
ball.
You're watching film over and over again. To me, it's like, how can you not point that out? How can you not say something? How can you not just become a better rebounder? I don't understand that. Please explain it to me.
Some people don't want to work. I mean, rebounding is hard work. That's why they call those guys doing all the dirty work, man. You know, nobody, everybody wants to live in a clean house, but once the hose bust, nobody wants to go down there and fix it. So, that's the same type of thing, man. You have rebounding is something that is a conscious effort. It's something that you have to do and that you want to do. So you can put forth the effort to rebound. First, you rebound, you have to box out. If you just stand and reaching the ball, those guys are too athletic to just turn and go get the ball. You have to put a body on somebody first, and that's the key.
Right. And the other thing with rebounding, and not just rebounding, but offensive positioning. When you're on offense, and you talk about the post. See, with Blake Griffin, and we'll talk about Dwight Howard with this also, but Blake Griffin, when Vinny Del Negro was coaching him, for whatever reason, every game, this guy, whoa, what the hell are you doing over there? We shifting all over the place. Where are we going? We on like a ride?
Yeah, man, my shoulder.
Oh,
when I'm feeling like this, my back start hurting. So I'm not leaning down, my shoulder hurts. So I switch.
I got you. All right. So Blake Griffin, Vinny Del Negro, they have this guy catching the ball like outside of the paint. And then he's got to back a guy down and, put up like a fadeaway shot or something that looks terrible. And this year, Doc Rivers has him catching the ball like under the basket. And he's just getting dunks. Yeah. I mean, how can Vinny Del Negro go a whole season and not realize that? Like, that just makes him a better player. I think that's a big part of why he's rebounding better and he's scoring more.
I mean, the common experience. Doc's been doing it longer. Doc has championships. That's the thing about coaching. You learn something new every day. And, I mean, you just got to learn. He didn't know, Doc's a better, he's better at that type of stuff. Those little things, the putting people in positions where they could be successful for the team. They could best help the team. Instead of doing all that, they kind of just probably, lost kind of touch with Vinny Del Negro. He's not a coach that you have to respect your coach, but there are some coaches just automatically get respect, and Doc Rivers is one of those coaches.
Right, and now you look at Dwight Howard. When he played in Orlando, you know what? Shaq's hard on this guy. Okay, I totally understand why, but at the same time, I blame the coaching for. I don't just blame Dwight for all this. I think you got to blame the coaching staff a little bit.
Blame both.
And that's what I mean. And it starts with Stan Van Gundy had Dwight Howard doing pick and rolls with the point guard. He was catching like the 3-point line, and he was ending up at the free throw line. So. To me, now you're forced to take a hook shot. And that, to me, you're under the basket, and a guy like Dwight could just dunk on anyone. What's the better shot here? And I'm not saying he doesn't have a great, hook shot, but it's much easier to dunk.
Well, he worked with the Dream. Then he worked with the Dream once, and he's really getting better. I mean, I see improvement now. He's down in Houston. I think the Dream comes and works out with him. I think Dwight will be a better post player next season.
Right.
It takes a year under your belt, man, to kind of learn all those moves and learn spots on the floor. Post moves is about spots on the floor, knowing where you are on the floor.
It took Amari Stoudemire.
It
took Amari Stoudemire one summer working with Hakeem. One summer to develop he was a pick and roll player his whole career. Goes to Houston to work with Hakeem in the summer. 2 summers, I think he did it the last 2 summers. And his post game has been unbelievable. He's not a pick and roll guy anymore. They don't run pick and rolls for him ever anymore. So Dwight has to do the same thing. Once he makes a conscious effort, man, to be that dominant on the post, I think he can really be a great post player. I mean, he needs right and left hand hooks, turnaround jump. He's going to have to develop a turnaround jumper, something off the glass, that type of thing, man, to kind of open things up for him. But I think he'll get better as the season goes on and people start to, once he started to figure out a way to put what they're teaching him in the workouts into gameplay. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Now, before we wrap up the show here, we're going to shift to Toronto. going to go to the Toronto Raptors, playing very well since the Rudy Gay trade. DeMar DeRozan putting up big numbers, Terrence Ross surprising people, and actually a defensive-minded guy, an all-around hustle player, Patrick Patterson. No one ever talks about this guy.
Yeah, I know, man. I think they're just a team of scrappers. They're just out there scrapping, man. Moving the ball. There's no big-time player on there. I mean, DeRozan's developing a name, but, he's not like a LeBron or anything. So they don't have nothing to lose. Sometimes when you got guys like that that's buying into what the coach is selling,
right?
Then, you kind of get that type of production from guys because they going out like, look, we don't have anything to lose. All we got to do out there is go out. All we got to do is go out there and play ball, move the ball, execute what the coaches are telling us. And sometimes when you have teams like that, you're a little bit more successful than when you have a bunch of superstars.
Right. And then another guy that we still got to talk about on the Raptors, Kyle Lowry, has actually he's been having a really strong season.
Point guard, huh? Been really good at the point.
Yeah. Very good at the point.
Did he play for Texas?
He did. Yeah. I
saw him in college a few times. Yeah. Decent player. I mean, sometimes, man, some of these guys, man, just need an opportunity. That's the thing about the NBA. Some guys get an opportunity, some guys don't. I think this is a guy, he just needed an opportunity. And plus, when you fit in with some guys, it makes it a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the other big thing about Kyle Lowry, the big story was that the Raptors were looking to trade this guy. They were looking to move him. That was another contract. This GM was like, "Hey, we traded Rudy Gay. He's all about the future." He's the same guy that made the Melo trade to the Knicks. He's the same guy that did that. Massa Uri, whatever his name is, I can never pronounce it.
The thing in Canada, their arena is always going to be packed.
Yeah.
So they really don't care about having a superstar there. I think the last superstar there was Chris Bosh.
Yeah, Chris Bosh.
So either way it goes, they know their arena is going to be packed. So
they made the trade that brought in Grievous Vasquez, and they're thinking this guy's going to be the starting point guard. He's going to be the future. And now Kyle Lowry, who you can now get a lot for him if you trade him, they're thinking this guy really is the future. Grievous Vasquez may be on his way to another team again because Kyle Lowry has just been playing unbelievable since Rudy Gay's been traded. And the Raptors are now in third place. They're 19-17. And they've really turned the season around. Yeah. And they've won 3 straight. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Toronto Raptors the rest of the way. But, there's 2 teams that I think can upset some of the better teams in the East. And we talked about this, and I don't know how you feel about this.
I'm listening.
So the Raptors is one of them because you just got a bunch of guys that are
upset. Who?
Either the Pacers or the Miami Heat. And I don't. You know what? I shouldn't say upset. I shouldn't say upset with the Raptors. But if it goes to 5 or 6 games, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this is a team that's really not playing for anything, and they're just winning games.
Playoffs is a different game, man.
I agree, but when you have just a bunch of guys playing as well, I want to see. I want to see it.
They face the Pacers or the Heat, they would be shut down and they would lose 4 straight.
Really? I don't think
for sure. In the playoffs, man.
I don't think they're
going to. People don't understand how much preparation goes into the playoffs. Playoffs is when you need your superstars.
Okay.
Just like you saw LeBron James take over the game in the sixth game, take over the game in the 7th game. I mean, that's when stars come out because they know everything that you do. You need those big time players, and that's where Toronto is going to lose out in the playoffs because they have no one that they could go to do that type of work.
All right. Well, the other team that I'm actually, Kyle and I are pretty confident. This team,
Detroit Pistons.
Yes.
Now I give you that one.
You'll give me.
I've been watching them lately, man.
Why?
I've been watching them lately.
What? I don't think Miami matches up with them at all, and I think Indiana will give them a good run for their money because, I mean, they're not expected, first of all, to beat either of these teams. So you got Detroit coming in with low expectations. They're not expected to be the champions. They're not expected to do anything. But a first-round series against the Heat especially, I think they have a good shot. I think they have a really good shot.
They won't beat the Heat, but
of course they won't beat the Heat.
No.
This is Mark Strickland telling you they're not going to beat the Heat.
No.
But I'll tell you,
That's
Josh Smith.
That win like 2 games.
Josh, I think more than that. Josh Smith, Andre Drummond, and Greg Monroe matched up against. You're talking Chris Bosh, Chris Anderson, and I guess LeBron. LeBron plays small forward for them, right? LeBron plays small forward, so I mean,
sometimes. He plays forward sometimes too. They put him at the 4.
Josh Smith is an interesting. Josh Smith, LeBron,
yeah,
Greg Monroe, and Chris Bosh, and then Drummond and Chris Anderson. That's gonna be tough. And then of course, no knock to Mario Chalmers, but Brandon Jennings here has totally got him outplayed.
Playing well lately.
He's playing well. He is.
Growing up right before our eyes. Once he gets the maturity bug, man, and start doing the off-court stuff, he'd be good.
You talk about when the stars come out in the big games, right? Well, they happen to have on their bench Mr. Big Shot Chauncey Billups. And I know he's old.
Chauncey Billups ain't nothing but a player coach.
I know he's old. I know he's up there in age. But, hey, we saw what Ray Allen did for the Heat last season. In the
Different situation.
Why is that different? Why? Who says Chauncey Billups can't
Ray Allen is doing something that he's been doing for years, like making jump shots, man. That's all he has to do for the Heat. He doesn't have to.
Chauncey Billups never laid off that. He never stopped making big shots.
Moments. Big shot, man, is not going to get in the game over those young guys, man. He's kind of like maybe his last year, maybe.
I think
next year you'll see him in a suit, probably.
I think come playoff time, I mean, he's already been playing in the regular season. Come playoff time, I think this guy's going to hit some big shots for them. I don't think you can count him out yet.
No.
But we'll see.
Wishful thinking, though. Wishful thinking. Wishful thinking. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll go with wishful thinking. All right, we got to start wrapping up the show here.
All right.
But a lot of good stuff to come this season in the NBA. The All-Star game, that's coming. That should be fun as always.
Yep.
Will the Raptors keep going? Will the Knicks keep going? Are the Nets fool's gold? Yes, in your mind. They're not doing anything. And I was mad that Dwayne Wade didn't wear Flash on the back of his jersey in that game. I wanted to see him.
That's his original nickname. Yeah, Flash.
Talkin Hoopz. TalkinHoops.com. NBRPA Miami chapter. NBRPAMiami.com. For AJ, for Mark Strickland, for Kyle, who's not here, we'll catch you guys on the rebound.
Until Talkin Hoopz comes back into play, stay connected by getting at us on iTunes. Keep up to date with all the latest basketball news and rumors and check out all our shows by logging on to TalkinHoops.com.
Catch you on the rebound.